I think he's using a custom skin. I'm not 100% sure. We'll know in a moment.
Yeah. Looks like it, yeah.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how it looks from that perspective. Scape. Oh my goodness! I mean,
okay. Granted, the Puff did everything that he should not have done.
Yeah, I mean, could have been better on his end, but still some very good follow-ups from iBDW. The straight 0 to death, true 0 to death, just actually pretty much comboing him from 0 to
the thing that Puff needs to not do whenever Fox has like an up throw sequence going on her is she shouldn't DI above the top platform, because that sets Fox up to get another up throw into an up air for the stock. She should always DI to the far left or the far right. I always tell my buddy Leighton that he's a Leighton or Big Kid, those are his aliases. Whenever we practice Fox Puff, I always tell him make sure never to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes a lot of sense from Puff's perspective, too, because with that recovery, you're never going to have an issue being off stage. So going off stage on purpose to avoid combo follow-ups makes a lot of sense from Puff's perspective.
Yeah, I feel like Puff, whenever she gets hit, almost always she should DI down and away, because she doesn't have the same traditional concerns that other characters have with DIing up and in. You know, she's not necessarily... She's not as worried about repositioning herself, because she can always make it back onto the stage. So it's really just a matter of not getting hit again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
That being said, Scape not looking too bad overall after that first stock. Certainly looks like he knows what he's doing a little bit in the neutral, but he hasn't been able to capitalize very much off these openings. Ooh.
Yeah, iBDW has kept center stage for basically the entirety of the match, and everyone's neutral game is weaker when they're cornered. Like, yeah, they gain some cheese strategies, but as far as like their actual likelihood to win the neutral game, it definitely goes down. And okay, looks like Cody's gonna lose that stock off of Tech Club. But
yeah, not a huge deal, obviously, at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Scape getting a little too frisky off stage there. Ooh, and yeah, iBDW in firm control that whole game.
Yeah, I felt like Scape was never able to contest the center of the stage. And I feel like whenever you watch the Hungry Box sets where he's losing to a Fox player, like even when I remember that one set where I beat him back in December, I kept the center stage for basically the entirety of the match. I feel like in this matchup, whoever manages to keep that center and dictate the pace is going to be so much more likely to win.
Yeah, it's huge in this match in particular. In particular, when both players are really solid at the punish game, which are already we've seen from iBDW, obviously. But if you look at the likes of HBox, that matters so much more against a player like HBox, because if you give up that positional advantage and he finds that opening on you, that's usually going to be a stock.
Yeah, it feels like Scape is playing a little too scared. I can kind of see the lack of confidence in his gameplay, and confidence is just everything in this game. Like you have to believe that you're going to win. You honestly do. Otherwise, your fears will become reality. And it feels like he's playing not to lose, which is not the right mentality.
For sure, you can definitely kind of see it in the way that they play, where he kind of expects himself to lose this, and therefore he's approaching it in that way. Whereas if he expected himself to win, then he would have more of a specific game plan. All right, when I land this hit, then I'm going to do this to follow up. Whereas right now, when he's landing a hit, it's almost like he's surprised that he even got the hit.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have like a firm follow-up even in mind.
Yeah, granted, that's the kind of pressure that a top player puts on you. I mean, I know this really well from facing Mango back in the day, especially when I mained Falcon. I would always feel so overwhelmed, and whenever I grabbed him, I would rarely convert the grab because I'd almost be surprised that I grabbed him. Yeah, it kind of feels like that's what's going on, because Scape hasn't really had the confidence to go for grabs or like any like more commanding plays. He's kind of just weaseling his way around the stage, kind of drifting back with aerials, hoping that Cody walks into them, and it hasn't really happened that much.
Almost a 4-stock, still could be. But yeah, I completely agree. It seems like he's trying to play just such a solid neutral, but he's just not actually formulating a way to kill iBDW.
Yep, it's a little too stiff, and this is a game where, that's the port stock.
Yep.
But this is a game where Melee is both an art and a science. Like, yes, you need the frame data, you need the scientific understanding of the game, but you also need to be loose in the neutral game. And it feels like Scape was too stiff throughout that set.
For sure. And that being said, iBDW, one of the best foxes in the business at the Puff matchup, and he demonstrated that very well there with just great neutral, as you said, keeping center stage for probably 90% of the time there, and that's going to make it very tough for Puff to deal with.
Yep, and we're going to take another look at a Red Bull replay of that set.
I'm guessing it's going to be the very first stock.
Yep.
And there it is. That barely killed too. He might have even been able to survive with a DI.
Possibly, but the real mistake was DIing above the platform in the first place. Because if you go to the far left, then the best follow-up the Fox can do is just some lasers.
Right. Yeah, that would have been a much different outcome for that stock at least, but certainly looks like that set was firmly in iBDW's hands from the get-go. So nicely done from him. He'll be moving on to round, I believe, 3 of winners. And just taking a quick look at the bracket that we have right now. A lot of heavy hitters in this wave. Honestly, a lot of heavy hitters in this tournament, period. But even just in this wave, we have Axe. Obviously, we just saw iBDW. We got Reeve. We got The Real Thing. Cyrox. Billy Bo Peep. Joy Boy. Kamaster. That's a little bit of a throwback. Toussaint. Yeah. Shroomed. The Boy Dewan, Iceman, Foxy Grandpa. I'm seeing a lot of names that I did not expect. Ty Plank? Plank is in this? What's going on here?
I had no idea Plank still played the game, honestly.
I barely did myself, so that's wild. But yeah, some heavy hitters in this wave. Obviously, with the seeding, you would expect most of those people that I mentioned to likely make it out, if not make it out in winners. But we've already seen a few upsets throughout the day. Nothing too crazy, but